Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Michael Edley. Pleasure to be here with you, hanging out here at the Jersey Shore, and I have my fabulous co-host, Mary Amy. How are you, Mary Amy?
Hi, Michael. It's so great to hear your voice. I am doing wonderful. I'm right out 45 minutes outside of Manhattan, and it was a beautiful day today, and I just returned from Florida vacation, and I'm so glad to be here tonight.
Ooh, you brought the sunshine back with us, back with you. You brought it, I should say, back to us. It's been, 83 degrees today, I think? Yeah, I was actually sitting out in the sun for a little while. It was gorgeous. I loved it. I was able to do a little meditating, do some contemplative prayer. I got into the zone, so that was good. But prior to that, I've been running my butt off. You know, it's been a pretty busy week. So if anyone out there didn't notice, we did take a week off. We were not with you last week, but we do have a really good show for you tonight. And I think Mary Amy can tell us a little bit about what we got going on. Or what would you like to start off with, Mary Amy?
Well, I'm going to totally share, of course, what we're talking about this evening. I just wanted to mention to everyone some really kind of bizarro, freaky-deaky things happened to me. You know, we did miss last week, and we just couldn't get on. It happened to us one other time. And we couldn't get on, and we tried, and then we said, it's not meant to be. Predestined, that's our subject tonight, predestined and nature. And today is May 2nd. It's episode 14 of Two Psychics. Well, we had a planned vacation last week, and I know that I have mentioned to you that I do some of these exercises, and I read all about, I guess, ways to connect to your higher self, whether it's through your, working with your chakras, energy healing, light work, it's your psychic phenomenon, your ESP. Well, I have been reading this book called the Palladian Workbook, and it talks about the Ka channels, Ka channels, if you want to look it up. And I did this exercise on a live video last week on YouTube. And it's as though you bring in your higher self, you bring in ascended Jesus Christ, and you bring in the Palladians. And what happened next was the next day we had the issue. And the following day after that, every single possible thing went wrong, from locking the keys in the house to get to the airport. Our flight took off, and then we couldn't land, and they took us to a different airport. And the whole day, the driver didn't show up. It was just the whole day went like that. So I said to myself, guess what? I think this exercise had me jump timelines. So now I'm officially in the 5D.
Ooh, and we are going to be talking a little bit later about string theory, some quantum physics, some very interesting things about the unseen realms around us that interconnect with fate, that interconnect with predestiny, things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to get into those type of subjects. But I do believe we could be facing some spiritual warfare. And I know sometimes I'll say that to people, and I think they look at me like I have three heads. But I think what people need to understand, we are a spiritual being. We are having a human existence. There is so much around us that we cannot see with our physical eyes. And some people choose to understand it, try to learn about it, try to dive deep into that and understand that we are so much more than what this human body is. And other people look at you like, that's crazy talk. But both of us, a lot going on. Me personally, I had a big event going on, and it was very, very based on uplifting people, helping people, having people understand this new dynamic that's awakening throughout society. I would say, that we're seeing a lot of things awaken, not only in like new age spiritual communities. We're seeing an awakening in churches around the world. We're seeing many things start to unfold that people either haven't been exposed to, don't really understand. And I do believe, as spiritual beings, and us, we are trying to be of love and light. We are trying to bring positive change into this world. We are trying to uplift people. And we're using multifaceted aspects of spirituality, religion, different aspects of this to try to show people, a lot of it is interconnected. Some of it is not. Some of it has been manipulated. Some of it has been misconstrued. And we're trying to dive deep into this, and we're trying to bring a lot of these topics. But when we do this, and I do believe light workers, I do believe people that are trying to uplift others in a very positive spiritual way can get under, we can be under attack. We can be under a spiritual attack. Anyone that doesn't think in this human realm, in this earthly realm of existence, that there isn't a battle between good and evil, I think that if you don't believe that, I think you really need to take a step back and look what's unfolding in our society. Look what throughout the last 100 years of history has happened. And I don't think when you really look at it that you could say, no, there's nothing and it's just coincidence and it's, just part of the process of living the human experience. I do believe we are seeing a battle of good versus evil. And I do believe we're seeing that unfold in society. And I do believe our God, what I refer to as our source creator, the loving divine energy of the universe, our God, I do believe he's calling people of light and people to, work through these positive aspects and bring change to society. And, there absolutely is some crazy stuff going on. And I have a lot of big plans. I hope and I pray that I can implement change on some degree. Obviously, can one person make a difference? Well, I guess we look at Jesus. Yeah, one person can make a difference. So if you don't think you can, kind of take a step back and realize that you can. Every single person can do something, even if it's on the smallest level, even if it's the most minute thing of just giving someone a smile, just, paying it forward, buying someone's coffee, just a kind word. Those small things will manifest, they'll magnify, and those things will lift other people up. And by doing that, we're lifting the awareness and the consciousness and the energy of the earth. We truly are. And I was under attack. So just to give you an idea, so my wife's car, and I'm doing, so in the back of your mind, keep this, in place that I had a huge event going on. I had a huge event going on over the weekend. Definitely needed two cars to go back and forth to, make sure things unfolded in the way they needed to. So my wife goes to start her car up, and sure enough, boom, a loud bang. Well, would you believe it? Like, she blew out the side of her engine. Like, literally, I'm under the car, and I see a chunk of metal out of the side of the engine. Like, literally, the engine blew up. So that was the first thing. Second thing, I get a call that I had a family member passed away, and so that had happened. On the following day, I'm trying to coordinate with the hall that we were using for the event, and they tell me that they don't have any record of me having it, me having the facility, available, and and it was booked out. So there were just a number of different things, and that's not even talking about little small things that would happen. So I do believe there is some type of spiritual warfare going on, and I do believe we are keepers of the light, and we are being called to step up. And we are being called to step up and try to bring positive change into society.
What day did that happen, Michael? Because I had all of these issues last week on
Oh, yeah, and then we couldn't
Friday.
get onto the show. And then we couldn't
Friday.
get onto the show.
No,
So
Thursday night we couldn't. But Friday was when everything seemed to fall apart. And to me, I didn't take it as, I understand what you're saying about spiritual warfare, because I've had those experiences, but for me it just meant when everything went wrong, that means I was in the middle of a transition change, And we got through it. We came out the other side. I have in the past experienced spiritual warfare, and I can tell because I either have dreams with something very evil and horrific that visits me, or I have a lot of events that cut really close, like everything feels like I'm going to have like a car accident or something really bad feels like it's looming around me like a big black cloud. Is that what you're talking about, a big black cloud?
Not necessarily a big black cloud around me. Not. I don't want to explain it in that way because that's not how I see it. That's not how I sense it. I sense it more as like literally like an energy attack on you or around you that could negatively affect you. And I do believe, we have angels watching over us. I do believe they are fighting a battle. I really do. And I believe there are, whether this is demonic entities, whether this is just lower vibrating energy that's aligned with, evil or negative, but I do believe there is something going on. There is a shift happening. And I think if we take a step back and we look at society and we look at all this crazy chaos unfolding that we've really never seen since like major world wars that have happened, I think this is the first time really in my lifetime that I'm starting to see a lot of chaos, start to break out in major cities. You're starting to see homeless crisis. You're starting to see all types of issues stemming from the heart. We're seeing people just dropping dead. What do they call it when people are just randomly dropping dead? What do they
Suddenly
say?
Died. Suddenly died.
I mean, it's just, we're seeing so much of that. You have to think, well, what is going on? What is happening? And aside from that, things do, like what you're talking about. We can experience difficulties or hardships or things that push us through or to another side or help us get out. We persevere. We build our character. We become more grounded, have a more solid foundation. That's not what I'm talking about. Like those type of personal experiences. I'm actually talking about unseen forces that align with the negative, that align with the evil, and people that have big plans that are trying to implement lots of positive change that are truly coming from a place of love and light are being attacked. I do. I think there's a spiritual war going on, and
I know there is. I know there is. I'm totally on board with that, and I've been saying that for months, if not a year. And I talk about how the angels are fighting demons, and like you're saying, unseen, it's frequencies and energies in another dimension, or if it's going on in this dimension and we just can't see it. And I did read. I don't know if you follow anybody or you're looking at Twitter posts, but someone was talking about yesterday how they saw two people shapeshift in front of them. So they weren't human, really. And I don't know if as the world is shifting and we are headed into a more positive golden age, all the evil is going to no longer be able to hide themselves from us, just like maybe we'll be seeing angels. Everyone will be seeing angels or ascended masters or fairies or demons, something evil. Like when anything evil's come to me, what I do is I just wrap love and light around it. And that's how because I don't fight evil with evil or anger or hate or meanness. I just send it love and it leaves. It leaves. It's like, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I think if you approached it, and anyone out there that's listening, that's one thing you really, if you look, light always outshines the darkness. I mean, that is what the basis of every part of our existence is. The light always outshines the darkness. The light will always shine through it. The light is always more powerful. So when we align with that, we take on that power. So, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100% that you cannot fight evil with evil. You cannot. you can't approach it in that way. I believe that just empowers it more, and that starts to pull you direction, and that causes emotional turmoil. That causes, many different things when you start aligning with that energy and that frequency. So no, I absolutely think you're 100% right. You have to fight the darkness with the light. You have to fight it with love. What is the most powerful energy in the universe? It's love. It really is. Not that we want to love demons or we want to love the evil, but we can fight it with the light of love of how we show others, how we uplift others, how we approach things in our own life, and how we handle our own matters. We try to approach that in the most positive way we can, and that is what starts that shift. When we start falling into the lower vibrating energies, what despair, the pain, the sorrow, the anger, the fear, when we start going into that lower vibrating frequency, that's when we can be taken advantage of. That's when we're at a disadvantage to fight the evil. So we really have to approach it from a place of love and light. And as I would say, as not corny, but you hear that a lot. You hear love and light, love and light. But truly, that's what it is. That's how we fight it. That's our power. Our power is in the divine presence of God's love and light. And no evil can surpass that. No evil can endure that. And I mean, I guess that's the most beautiful thing of coming into this human existence, is we come from a divine presence that empowers us in that way. And I think people are awakening to that, and people are getting back to that, and people are understanding that connection that we have with the divine. And that is how, that's how we fight it. That's how we make progress, and that's how good will surpass the evil.
And I believe, too, that the fact that you and I are both trying to change the world with two psychics and bring hope and compassion and speak of prayer and add some of these fascinating topics and awaken those that haven't realized that there's another reality and there's another belief system. And sometimes when we are in moments of despair and suffering and it seems as though there's no hope, you can't give in. You can't lose your strength or power. You have to keep moving forward and believe. And maybe it's going to be you spend time in nature. Maybe you're going to take a moment and tune inward and do some meditation. Maybe it's going to be that you pray to angels, Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel. And that's my message, is that I just want to share with you that I'm sending blessings to everyone out there who's listening, and I want good things for you. And I'm just going to mention tonight what we have going on. Here we are, May 2nd, and it's 2024, and it's Two Psychics, episode 14, and we're speaking about predestined and nature. And Michael is going to give his input on these subjects, and I will be doing a visualization, and he'll share any upcoming events. We do have that event at the end of the month, and we have some guests coming on. And then you all out there, I have many, many people calling in and holding for readings, and we love to give readings because we're here for you, and we're hoping that it heals you, and maybe a suggestion or two might bring you to another and better version of you, or a place that you would feel more hopeful. Right, Michael?
Yeah, not that we wanted to bring people down a little bit with the war of love and light and good versus evil, but I think it had to be addressed. I think that's something that I wanted to talk about initially. But yeah, interesting topic when we talk about fate. We talk about different aspects of, predestiny. Now, there's a lot of variables on that. And, I'd like to hear your perspective and your take on it. Then I'll give people my take on it. But just to talk about fate, they say it's development of events beyond a person's control, and that's determined by some kind of supernatural power. And this is something that you saw ancient cultures, the ancient Greek cultures, the ancient Romans. They were big into fate. They were big into the aspects of supernatural power determining your course. Now, I don't wholeheartedly agree with all that, and I'll say that up front. I do believe in free will, And I do believe there's a lot of variables around that. And I do believe there are aspects of predetermined fate that can intertwine into the aspects of free will. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but I think there's a lot of variables around this. And I actually want to talk a little bit about a scientific perspective and the quantum physics perspective of this. And for those of you that don't know, or for those of you that are just tuning in, I am a scientific research medium. I am a lab rat, a lab guinea pig. And part of what I do and part of the abilities that I have, I'm actually in a lab and we're trying to see what is beyond this physical realm, or why does my mind work in this way, and how does it not debilitate me or freak me out, or how have I been able to navigate with this psychic mediumship ability, and different things that come to me. And from a scientific perspective, we're going to jump into a lot of really cool things tonight, and I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I've experienced in the lab, things I've proven in a lab, and how this is all kind of intertwined.
Okay. I'll give you some information that I found about the subjects tonight, which is predestined and nature. And for me, I thought this might be a really interesting topic, because what we do here, sometimes you might calculate it means that we are telling you your fate or something that's going to happen. But really, in fact, more or less, for me, before I say what I found out, is that we're reading you. We're reading information that you have and we're gaining it from a source, whether it's coming from an outside source, maybe it's coming from your energy field or something. We're tapping into your heart. Each psychic and medium intuitive does it differently. For me, I tune into your heart and I just hear a voice and then I receive information. So predestined, the divine will of God determines, they say, the fate of events prior to outcome. Acts 4:28, I quote, say, they did what your powers and will had decided beforehand should happen. The powers of force that have a plan already, a path of events doomed to occur in the future. In other words, it's something that's going to happen regardless. Now, I agree with what Michael said, which is there's a lot of variables that are related to that. Your personal journey your personal destiny is a result of thoughts, energy, and divine plans. Each of us are here. It's up to us to travel forward and find the meaning of life. The law of cause and effect, like a chain of events. Every action contributes to the effect in a flash of information. In other words, a new idea, actually, a recognitive flash, which is the speed of light, is possibility, time, effort, and experience. So if you grab an idea, you add faith and enthusiasm, and you can make it real. When you receive a flash of information, all of us receive this. It's whether or not we're open to it. You can add to that your strength, your power, and you can make it be. So that's cause and effect. Here's the cause, and then you create the effect, the outcome. Your particular fortune, they speak of fortunes. We have fortune cookies when we go to some restaurants. Maybe circumstance, luck, fate, destiny, plus your input into a favorable life. You can shift your energetic pattern. Things do not necessarily have to be what you have been told. It can be something entirely different. You can change your fate, is what I'm trying to say. How do you shift your energetic pattern? I've spoken about it before with some call-ins. I say, do something different. Drive a different way. Hang around different people. Try new opportunities, new activities. Change your belief system. You're going to alter your daily plans, maybe a different route to work, maybe eat in a different new location. And you're also going to do something extremely important, which is release old energy and patterns. Let it go. It's the past. Let's operate here in the moment. We don't have to think about what's going to happen, but be here in the moment to create and breathe in an exciting goal for you. So how are you going to change your luck? If it is about your luck, stand up to adversity. Be adaptable. Determine a way to find opportunities and meet people. Trust your intuition. If you don't succeed, try again. Be the light and increase time outside. Visualize the goal and reward yourself. Now, I wanted to mention nature because I think that has an impact on all of us. And, they say nature, nurture, but I wanted to mention nature, the universe. We speak of the elements of the physical world, humans, environments, and all the living things, the earth, the sky, waters. And nature's gift is the beauty that contributes to our life. Colors, energy, aesthetic quality. Now, nature offers truth, goodness, and perfection. You can always change things. You have that power within you. You can create. You are a creator here. Nature gives us an opportunity to grow, inspire, love, accept, create, dream, and hope. Our existence changes with every second we live. Nature grows and grounds us and offers a series of sharp turns. Maybe it's a design, a road, a pattern, successes and failures, a learning experience. Okay, Michael, you share now.
No, that was really good. That was really good. But I think how we listed this as when we look at predestined and nature, I think they go hand in hand personally. I do believe, let me take everyone back a little bit with my background. And those of you that know, I'm a hybrid of spirituality and religion. I had half my family Hungarian gypsies, the other half devout charismatic Catholic, this hybrid of that. When I think predestined, when I think, God has a great divine plan for us, and I think that possibility of manifesting our full potential, being the greatest person we can be, implementing and helping change others, changing the world, whatever this may be in aspects of you manifesting your full potential in God's love and light. What are you great at? What skills do you have? What things can you do that naturally just come to you and naturally you're just gifted with? Now, I do believe everyone has some type of gift, some type of divine gift in them. And I'll approach it this way. I do believe from our divine creator, we are given a divine gift, but I believe it's up to us to find that path while we're having this human earthly existence. And that's where nature comes in. We've been given free will. And it's interesting because, I've had people ask me that, what about free will? What about, if we have this loving divine God, why do people die? Why do these bad things happen in the world? Why is there evil? Why is there good? Why can't we just eliminate the evil? And it all comes down to free will. Think about that. That is the most beautiful, loving thing that you could do for anyone. Think of your child. Obviously, you want to guide them. Obviously, you want to help them be the best they can be, make the best decisions they can be. But if you're holding their hand every second of the way and you're not letting them make mistakes, you're not letting them go through adversity and challenges, you're doing the biggest disservice to that person, because they're not going to understand the complexity of what's going on, how they need to maneuver. They're not going to figure themselves out. They're not going to understand themselves. There's just so much interruptedness. So that's what I believe. If we want to simplify this, and I don't think it can be simplified that easy, but I'll try. And I do believe the predestined, I do believe we're all given gifts. We're all given a vision. We're all given this magnificent potential that we can manifest into our lives while we're having this human earthly existence. It's our choice, though. It's our choice to make those decisions while we're here, good or bad. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing unfold. Some people are pulled to the negative. Some people are pulled to the positive. Every decision has an impact. Every decision. So that's such a big variable in this. It's not like, hey, this is what you're predestined to do, and any decision you make is not going to make any difference at all, because this is exactly what's going to happen. I think, okay, if we take a step back and we look at one individual that lived a human existence that was probably predestined, I would say you would have to look at Jesus. You would have to look at someone that incarnated into this world in a magnificent supernatural way. We don't know what he experienced for the first 30 years of his life. And then we see all these magnificent things unfold of healing, of prophetic word, of knowledge, just amazing, amazing stuff. Now, was he predestined to show humanity what we are capable of, what love and what potential we have in us? I do. I believe that. And I've actually even had people tell me, well, Jesus could have been an alien, or he could have been, what is this? Well, I mean, if you're looking at the supernatural divine power of God, well, I mean, is that alien? Well, I mean, it could be, I guess, but I think we're looking at seeing a human being have the divine presence manifest in them to help lead and guide others of what their potential could be. That's truly it. So, and I don't. So, and just this disclaimer out there, I don't believe Jesus was an alien, and I can argue with people over that. I believe what you saw was the incarnation of the divine presence in a human that showed us what we're capable of, what our potential could be, and to try to lead us and show us the way. And that, people may disagree with me on that. And there's many different aspects of this. But when you look at predestiny, and even when you look at other religions and other cultures that were way, that had established beyond what we saw in like Christianity and those different things, even when you go back to like the Buddhist monks, or you go back to different cultures, they all predicted some type of problem. And an interesting thing out there, I just want to share a little tidbit of something I had learned through some research. Does everyone realize that there was a point in time where Buddha actually prophesied of a human walking on the earth that had the divine presence in them? And I mean, no one talks about that. No one mentions that. And we look at these different things. So do we want to look at that as predestined? I think if we're going to look at predestined, and whether you believe or whether you don't believe or whatever your aspects are, I think if we were going to say it happened, that's the only human I can think of that it occurred with. There was a predestined plan in place for humanity through this person. And other than that, I do believe we're all given free will, and nature has such a big impact on that and how we live out our lives and what we do, this existence we're living. So if we want to talk predestined, that would be the only aspect that I would say, okay, you could take a step back and you could say, yeah, that was predestined. It's beyond the scope of my understanding, and there's a lot of mystery around that. But if you wanted to say this was predestined from the start and you saw it manifest to the end, was he meant to die on the cross? Was he meant to go through what he went through to show us what our potential is? Yeah, I would say, okay, that may be a pretty accurate aspect of predestiny. But for the rest of us, I'd say we're really dealing with free will, and there's so many variables involved in that. And that's how I look at this. And I'm not even getting into the science aspects of free will and nature and fate, but that's I think a good starting point, and it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was very interesting how the different words, and you think they all mean the same thing, and they really don't necessarily. Fate, predestined, your fortune, law. They're very similar. And predestined to me, like, I buy that there's the best road for each and every one of us that we can travel on our own personal journey, but we do have input and we can shift things around. I don't think it's a predestined plan to get in a car wreck or something bad happen. I don't believe that. I truly believe myself that our spirit makes the choice and we decide. I don't think it's inevitable is what I'm trying to say, but that's my belief. I believe that we can shift outcomes, We can shift possibilities. There's always light on the horizon. I say good things are coming beyond your view. A difficult situation will improve. It's all up to us. That's why I also speak about when you gather all your energy from the base of your spine and you pull it all up forward and you move forward. You can do that. You have that ability. You don't have to be sad or live, in a place of suffering. You can shift that. You can change that. So predestined, I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about all of it. I know that there is something that is to come. There's certain people that I've met in my life that for sure, I don't know if it was a past life, but they were for sure supposed to be in my life. And maybe that was predestined.
So there's aspects of that, and that could be within us. We have this higher potential, and and that connection has to be made. And yeah, there could be some type of divine connection, or we're put on each other's path. We interconnect, and that can still come from variables that we've determined in our own life and choices we made that put us on that path to meet that person, to be at that place at that time in that moment. We have an impact on that. We have a deciding factor in that, but could there be things interwrapped with that? And that's what I'm talking about. I do believe we have gifts. I do believe there is a divine presence in each of us that wants to help us to manifest our full potential. And whether that's someone that comes up with a cure for cancer, or someone that, creates a way to purify, ocean water and desalinate it, that can help third world countries have water source. I mean, there's many different things, and there's many different aspects to this. And a really good way to look at it, and I'll try to approach it almost from a medical standpoint. So if you look at it like this, so let's just take something like a medical condition. Let's take breast cancer. Okay, there could be someone that has a genetic predisposition to breast cancer. You have a predisposition to that. And if you make the bad choices, the bad diet, the bad life choices, you come in contact with crazy chemicals, different things that can activate that genetic structure to become activated, then yeah, but I do believe it's your life choices and decisions that can have a major, major, major impact on that. Now, will there be some people that, regardless of how good they eat, how much exercise they do, or whatever positive things they do, that it still happens? Yes, there are those variables, and that can occur. But I think we have a big say in how things unfold, and that's how I see that. I do believe we've been given so much that we can navigate. And that's the interesting thing too. Yeah, you talked about this earlier. Like when we bring through information, or say, quote unquote psychic reading, or whatever, when we're reading someone's energy in whatever way we're doing that, people need to understand. And I always explain this to people. If I'm seeing this around you, I'm seeing these things in your energy field, I'm seeing these things occur, what I'm seeing is if you are making the same choices tomorrow, next week, next month as you are today, you're doing the same things, you're eating the same things, you're associating with the same people, you're making the same exact decisions. You're not changing or implementing anything new. You're not trying to improve any situations around you. You're still doing the same thing. Then that's what I will see unfold. That's what the potential is to unfold in your energy field. But you have all the control in the world to change that direction. And that's truly what it is. We are so empowered to implement and make change in our life. And so many people think that it's out of their control. Well, like I said, there's some variables to this. And can people meet for a divine reason? Can we be put on someone's path for some major impact and major change to occur? Yeah, those things absolutely can occur. But I do believe part of those things occurring and unfolding stem from choices that we've made that put us on that path to make that happen. That's what I'm sticking to it. But that's really what it is. Now, from a scientific aspect, I think we're looking at many aspects of we're living in this, what they call 3D dimension. Now, if we look at quantum physics, now in quantum physics, studying something that's called string theory. Now, string theory is basically multiple strings that stem from this reality where other realities exist. And an interesting thing to this, and as different quantum physicists have studied this through the years, they say there's different schools of thought. So some say there's as little as 5 alternate string theory dimensions, and some say that it goes up to 19. But what's very interesting is when you start to look at how they say these occur and what happens in this space and what's determined by the vibrational state of the string and how things will shift and change, it can absolutely correlate to other realms of existence. It could, looking at it as we're the base realm, this human existence that we're having is basically a base realm that other things can stem off of. And at the highest point, you're looking at what I would call a divine heavenly realm. And there's multifaceted realms, strings that intersect between the two. And, they're really starting to show some amazing, amazing scientific discoveries in regard to this. And we all heard with this last shift that we've had, this last energy shift with the blackout. We had the blackout of the sun. We had, we had this whole thing, and everyone talking about CERN and talking about they're activating it on this day and what's going to happen. Well, I mean, good or bad, we don't know. We don't know exactly what they're doing there and what they could stir up or what can unfold. But I could tell you what they are saying is this is absolutely not the only one. There's many interconnected levels and dimensions of energy, and through that, there's different realms of existence. So it's really interesting, and from a scientific standpoint, they are absolutely proving that there are multiple realms. So that's what I find so fascinating. So could those realms be from here we shift into lower vibrating dimensions, which could be, within this universe, and then do we ascend into like an angelic realm, and through the angelic hierarchy till we get to a divine heavenly realm? And in that, could there be some other realms of existence that, maybe negative? I don't know. They're still researching this, and there's a lot of information and a lot of variables about it. But I find it very intriguing that they actually are showing multiple realms of existence. They're showing energy that is absolutely present in this realm, shifting and being a part of several correlating energy systems that coincide together at the same time. So it's very, very interesting what they're showing with that. So that's one part of this too, is if we're talking about fate and predestiny, can it shift? Can certain things happen on certain timelines that then intersect with ours? And, there's a lot of questions around that. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of mystery. But I would say we're going to start to see this stuff unfold. Science, I believe, is starting to catch up with what the ancient mystics had known. So whether information was misconstrued, hidden from us, and taken away, I would say at some point in time, there were ancient societies that truly knew about the supernatural. They truly knew about divine realms around us. They truly knew that this earthly existence was not the only thing going on. And I think we're seeing not only in like spiritual communities that have kind of tried to tune into this, and you look at different monks and the Buddhists, but you are seeing this stuff even unfold in modern religion, so there is an awakening happening. I think people are truly starting to see there is no way we could say there is nothing more than what we see here. It just, there can't be, and there is so much. And I can tell you from my own experiences, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, there is so much more that we don't see in this physical that is around us. There are other realms. There is a divine presence that interfolds and interconnects everything, and there's just so much more that we don't understand, but I think we are starting to understand it.
I always believe that we can shift ourselves, and we can open up channels and portals, and we have the ability to move forward pretty much in any way we deem that we would like to go. And to me, just to touch on what you spoke about earlier when we first got on the show tonight, and you were discussing how you knew there's something going on here. There's some spiritual war going on. And I can say that it's almost as though the two are coming together. Our fate on this planet is coming together with this spiritual war. And as we awaken and we realize the power that we have within us, we all have these beautiful, wonderful gifts. All of us have some kind of psychic power. We will become more apt at speaking telepathically to each other. Maybe it'll be teleportation, bilocation. And with everything that's changing, we're going to be changing the fate of humanity, the fate of our earth, the beautiful waters and the grasses and the mountains and the trees. And we have an opportunity right now, all of us, to be the best version of ourselves and to come together and love one another. And I think that's predestined. That part is predestined. It's a beautiful life that we're moving into, a new civilization, the golden age, the age of Aquarius, and I think it's time maybe for a caller.
You know what? Before we take a caller, just to kind of bring this a little bit to a close and help people understand my perspective of this, let me share a little something now. You can ask yourself, was this predestined? Was this predetermined of what happened to me this weekend? Or was there a shift that occurred and a higher power put something into place to show me and to connect and to communicate with me? So I want to share a little story. So most of you that know me and have listened to this show for a while, you also know that not only am I'm going to say my spiritual, visionary, mystic aspects of what I do, but I'm also a musician. I had an event going on, and this was an event that I had basically dreamt about. I had a dream that this occurred. I saw it unfolding, and was it predestined that I dreamt this or it was supposed to happen? Or was this vision put into my mind because something needed to come from it? And then that's when the shift and that's when the variable occurred. So I had a musical event. It was the first event that from start to finish I coordinated, I put together, and I had a great team around me that really helped it all come together. And obviously, I'm a big advocate at this point of saying we absolutely need to work in unity, and we absolutely need the help of others to help us navigate this. And it really, it really shifts everything when you become a unified force. And I can tell you, I say that because for so long and so much of my life, I tried to do everything on my own. I tried to do it on my own, and I got pretty far doing it that way. But did I deal with burnout? Did I deal with effects of points of going through depression because I was so, I was so tired or so worn out or so run down? I experienced a lot of different things around that, but in the shift, I can tell you we need to work together. And in working together, an event unfolded, and it was a great, great night. But before this event had started, I was just contemplating, is this something I should do? This is really cool. I love it. I think it can impact a lot of people. And I literally asked God. I said, I was meditating, I was praying, and I said, God, I need you to show me, the potential and the impact that this event could have on others. And is this something that I should pursue? Is this another thing, that I should put in my toolbox? Is this something that I should try to do? Because it could be very powerful in helping to implement change, helping to, awaken people and helping to shift from the darkness to the light. And I just put that out there. I put that out to the universe. I asked God, show me what potential and impact this event could have, and if it's something I should pursue. Okay. And I didn't hear anything. Sometimes we could be a little demanding. We think, I need the answer now. I should, and I think that's a big mistake. I think we have to let go. Well, what's the saying? They say, let go and let God. I think that is such a perfect saying, because we truly do need to let go of the control. We truly need to let go and let the divine work through us, work with us, and help navigate us. So the event went great. I couldn't have asked for a better night. And at the end of the night, I was the last one there. Everything, everything was closed up, and it was my event. I was coordinating it, so I was locking up the building. I was the key holder, so I had to make sure garbages were empty. I had to make sure, floors were swept, things that were supposed to be locked were locked, lights were turned off, et cetera, et cetera. Now, my car is the only car in the middle of this parking lot. So here I am. I lock the door. I'm walking to my car, and I have a tinted out vehicle just spin around. Like, I hear it peeling out from another parking lot in the distance that was on the same grounds of the facility that was in the distance. And I see this car like literally zipping through a parking lot, speeding right towards me. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm the only one here. There was an event that happened. It's, literally in my mind, people have to understand, I did years and years and years of martial arts, 20 years of martial arts. I can defend myself. I understand that. I was literally getting into a position, and my mindset was shifting that, is someone going to try to rob me? And it's weird how, as humans, sometimes we tend to focus on worst case scenario. And, and I've been really good at working at not doing that. But in the moment, boom, my mind immediately went to worst case scenario. Someone's coming to rob me. Someone's coming to, what do they do? What's going on? Do they think I have a bag of money from the event? Or are they going to try to hijack my car? What is it? It was a tinted out vehicle. I couldn't see what was going on. And sure enough, the car zips around, pulls right in front of me. Guy rolls down the window. Yo, man, you were in the band. Dude, you're the bass player. That was awesome. So, and whoo, what a shift. I'm not going to get robbed. Nothing crazy is going to happen. But, it was a younger guy, and he came up to me, and then he said, man, he's like, crazy thing. He's like, I just have to share this with you. It's like, I was looking for you all night, and I couldn't find you anywhere. He's like, I've talked to your bandmates. I've talked to other people that were in the facility, and I was looking for you. And sure enough, he's like, I was just about to leave. He's like, literally, I was about to pull out of the parking lot. I saw you in the distance. And he's like, sorry. He's like, I didn't want to freak you out, but that's why I sped over here. He's like, I didn't want you to get in your car and drive away. He's like, I have to share something with you. He's like, do you have a minute? Can I share this story with you? I'm like, yeah, man, and you just spent a whole evening with me, and I can at least give you a couple minutes. I appreciate that you came out to the event and supported it. And he tells me, for many years he's dealt with depression and anxiety. And what he would do to quiet his mind, he would handcraft these knives. He would find different things in nature and leather. He would find the dropped antler sheds from deer. He would use that as the handles, and he would actually do like old school blacksmithing, and he would craft these blades, and he would make these custom handles, and he's like, and this is the stuff I make. Check this out. And he's showing me, he pulls out a box of knives, and he's like, the craziest thing, man. He's like, I got to share this with you. He's like, I was meant to be here tonight for a reason. He's like, this morning, he's like, I was making my latest knife. I was doing my latest creation. And he's like, I just felt this peace come over me. And he's like, and I felt no depression or no anxiety. He's like, normally when I'm making my knives, that goes away. He's like, that creativity kind of pushes that stuff out of my mind, and I go into a really special place, and peace comes over me. But he's like, this was a little different. Something really weird happened. He's like, I actually heard a voice in my mind tell me that I would encounter someone today who would shift and change the direction of my life, and I needed to give him this knife that I just created. Well, sure enough, he reaches in and he hands me this knife. He's like, you're the guy. He's like, you're the person this knife is meant to go to. Now, okay, earlier that morning, when I was asking God, show me the impact this event can have on others and the potential of it, and should I pursue it? Well, if that wasn't God smacking me upside my head and saying, man, open your ears, open your heart, listen. I mean, I couldn't have gotten a clearer message than that. I mean, how mind-blowing is that? Now, was that predestined to happen? Or were the variables that were in place of me doing this event, me having that dream, seeing that we can implement and change others, and my decisions to follow through on that and put all the pieces in place that were very overwhelming and almost looked impossible at the very beginning. I knew I could do an event. I mean, I've been a business owner for 22 years. I've done different events, but this was something out of my norm. And I was a little, and I had some anxiety over it. And I was like, wow, I'm really going to have to rely on a lot of people. I don't like relying on other people. I like being self-sufficient. And it was almost, God's way of saying, look, I need you to shift and I need you to change and I need you to understand that we need to work in unity. So I don't know. Was it predestined to happen, or was it the choices that I was given and I made the right choices and that intersection of divine intervention occurred? So I don't know. I don't have an exact answer for that, but I could tell you that happened, and I could tell you it was unbelievable, and it was one of the most amazing confirmations I've ever gotten. So not only did I get my confirmation, but this gentleman had a complete shift, and he told me, how much the night impacted him, and he was actually going to come on to what we were doing and try to be a part of what we were promoting and doing in that event. So all I could say is God works in mysterious ways, and we don't necessarily need to understand it, and we need to allow it to unfold. And that's where we truly need to listen. We truly need to take a step back. We need to embrace our intuitive gifts. We need to embrace what we're going to say, our psychic abilities. We need to understand, we have the ability to divinely connect and communicate with with God. That's the easiest way for me to put it. Whether you want to call it source, whether I want to call, God, it's all the same thing. It's all the same energy of divine creation of love. And in my world, that's God. In his world, what was it? I don't know his background. I don't know what happened, but I could tell you there was some type of divine, otherworldly connection that happened that was unexplainable. And, that's the only thing I could say is God works in mysterious ways. We don't need to understand it.
I love that story. I love what happened. And yes, to me, when you told that story, I liked how it unraveled, and the fact that your mind took you one way to believe that maybe this was going to be something very negative, and it turned out to be actually the validation you were looking for. And we can all ask for that. We can all, say, here, show me, give me a sign. That was a sign for you. And that was beautifully put. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
And I think that's the big thing, that anybody listening, you just have to understand there's so much more than meets the eye. And our mind can take us in many different places. But when we let go and we truly empower ourselves to connect to what I'm going to say our divine heavenly realm, and we allow that to help navigate us, I think, our life shifts and changes in the most miraculous ways. That's the only explanation.
I think it's partly giving yourself a chance and have patience and having an open heart, open mind, and see where it takes you. I mean, we can have our goals, and I say, basically, if you're open and you set out a plan for yourself, or you have a goal and if you let it go, it might even be much more exceptional if instead of trying to control it, you let it go, and you might be pleasantly surprised on how things, play out. And, also, it's interesting because if you had done one thing differently, maybe you wouldn't have run into that man. Maybe he wouldn't have seen it was meant to be. It was meant to be that you saw him so that you would have this validation, and he also needed to meet you as well.
Yeah, so it's unexplainable. but I don't think it needs to be explained. And that's it. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. Sometimes, we just have to let go and we have to trust in the process. It's so important. And now that we have probably everyone hanging on, waiting.
We do. We've had, people have popped on and popped off. We always have about 10 people holding, and I do get on there, and people go into the green room. So be prepared. Then you don't hear the show. But otherwise, if I put the headset back on, then somehow it can tap into our circuitry, and you can hear that in the background. That's already happened to us, so we can't do that. I apologize. So you just have to hang on, because we do want to take callers. So what I would like to do is I'd like to take one caller, if that's okay with Michael, and then I want him to share, and we'll share about what we have upcoming, and then I'll do a visualization, and we'll take more callers.
That sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Okay. So we have someone holding right now, and we'll bring her on. Hold on. Let me see. Hi, this is Mary and Michael. Who's this?
This is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Well, kind of sad.
What's going on, Michelle? And what's happening? And hopefully we can maybe bring a little positivity to you, cheer you up a little bit. What's happening? What's going on?
I broke it off with my boyfriend of 11 years. And I caught him buying drugs, and I told him I wasn't going to do it again, and that he needed to leave until he got recovery. And he's like, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yes." So he ended up moving out, and I asked him when he was moving out, I says, "Do you plan on going to recovery?" And he says, "No." He said, "I'm not an addict anymore." So, one minute he's nice, one minute he's hateful, and I'm about to the point to where I don't want him back. And I did want him back, but now I'm like really second guessing it. I'm like, I'm so sick of this. I'm tired of the betrayal. I'm tired of the fighting. I'm tired of the trying to defend myself. That I'm not overreacting. One pill is too many.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, okay, so Michelle. Just what I want you to do is just take a breath, calm down a little bit, and understand what you're going through. But just give me your name very slowly. We're gonna kind of connect on an energy level, and then I want you to, if there's a specific question, just present us that question.
Okay, I'm very ADHD, so
no, it's all good. So am I.
So basically, I ended the relationship in hopes that he would go and get recovery on his own. I can't force him to get it because then it's not going to work. He's got to want to go out there and get it on his own. But, I just he thinks he don't have a problem. So,
so basically, how will this unfold? You're kind of asking us what is the energy we're reading around this circumstance, this situation? Is that
how do you see it unfolding? Okay. I mean, I've talked to some other psychics. One is like, that he needed help. He's probably not going to get help until he hits rock bottom. And then I talked to other people.
Not that I want to cut you off, but I'd prefer don't tell us anything anybody said about us. We want to kind of go in with a clean slate. We don't want to hear anybody else's interpretation till we give you ours, because we don't want that to influence us in any way. But can you just give me your name a little slow? Just say your first name for me, just out loud, and just give me that name.
Michelle.
Okay, Michelle. Thank you very much for that. So I'm basically just going to tell you what I sense around your energy field. And what I want to get into is, so now, immediately when I was speaking to you, I have the initial B, but I don't know the interconnection of the name Bill or William or Billy. What's the connection with the B initial?
I don't know. The initial.
Is there a Billy or a William or anyone interconnected? Does that name have any? Does that have any influence around you? Is there a family member? Is there a friend? Is there someone with that name connected to you? A Billy? A Bill?
Now my son's dad's dad his name is Bill.
Okay, so understand. I am a medium. I do connect. He's still with us, though? He's here in the physical, correct?
Yes, he's still here in the physical world.
So that's in your energy field. We're connecting to that person. So now this is your son's father, who you're not with currently, correct?
No, my son's father's father.
Oh, okay. So this is your son's father's father, who is still with us.
Yeah, that's the only Bill that I know.
Okay, they're giving me the name Bill. So what I want you to take a step back and think about a little bit. Are there any interpersonal dynamics? Is there any type of situation or anything that had unfolded or connection between you and the name and Bill and that person Bill? Was there any dynamic or any disharmony, any falling out? Was there negative consequences around your connection to the Bill person? Did you go through like? I just kind of I'm trying to feel out why I'm getting that name and why that name. So let me just share this with you. With me, when a name comes through like that, and it's connected to someone that's pretty anchored into your energy field, I would say this is your ex-husband, correct? Your ex-husband's father, I should say. Your ex-husband's father, is that correct?
Yeah, my ex-husband's father, yes.
Okay, so we're going to ex-father-in-law.
And I'm not really communicating with him or anything.
No,
it
doesn't matter if you're in communication with him or not. Whether they're trying to show some kind of lesson, whether there's something around the dynamics of what your and his relationship was. So let me ask you this. At this point in time, what is the connection to your ex-husband? Are you still in contact with him? Is it on good? Is it a good thing? Did it end on bad terms? Did it end on good terms? Is it amicable, or is there like not speaking and can't stand each other? What are the dynamics between you and your ex-husband?
You talking about the one that I just broke it off with?
No, I'm talking about whoever the Bill is the father of.
Oh yeah, we're on pretty good terms.
Okay,
we didn't. Yeah.
All right. So normally when a name or something like that comes through, I'm getting it as some type of positive affiliation or some type of positive lesson that can come from that, or something that you've experienced around that. So what I would say is, what I see and getting that name, that there is potential for healing around this. So if in your heart you truly wanted to reconnect with this person, you wanted to try to help them, you wanted to try to have that reconnection and, try to renew that relationship, I think that potential is there. But I do believe you made the right decision. I think there is a possibility, if you would choose that you want to, I think so. The energy around this I'm reading, I mean, honestly, it's a little chaotic. It's a little chaotic around that dynamic, because I do believe he has to go through some kind of, I don't want to say negative consequence, but I almost feel like in some sense he has to either lose you or hit rock bottom to understand and learn the lesson that's intertwined with this, and how that addiction or how those pills can have a negative consequence, not only on him, but to those around him. Now, what I see around this, I do believe there could be negative consequences to the cardiovascular system around the heart, and also liver and kidneys for him, if he pursues the addiction. If he doesn't get help, if he doesn't clean himself up, I do see health complications coming from this. Obviously, I don't read someone else's energy that's not with us. For me, I read it how it can impact you. And what I think that would put some type of hardship on you, because it may come back that in some way, shape, or form, he becomes dependent on you for survival. And it would be, you would have to make the choice. Do I go against my own intuitive guidance that I need to let this person go? I need to move on. I need to, get my life into a better place. Or do I try to help and uplift this person, and in doing so, it can pull me down? So I think that decision is there. I see that in your energy field. So I think while you're approaching this, you really need to take a step back, and you really need to see how his actions are affecting things around him. And I don't know how, how intertwined you are, how many people you each know that you communicate with that may tell you, hey, this is going on with him or this is happening. And, this is something to be concerned about or not concerned about. But I see this, to simplify this, and I'm rambling on a little bit, but I see the potential for healing in this relationship, but it's going to be a process. And I do think for some reason the number 8 is coming to me around this. And when I see the 8, this could be 8 months, or we could be looking at August. We could be looking at this, so if we're looking at the month of August, that's a significant month. Now, can I ask you, when I see that 8, is the 8 significant on an anniversary, a birth date, someone's passing?
My mom and dad's anniversary was August the 29th.
Okay, so August 20th. So I'm getting, and they're both in spirit now, correct?
No, my dad is, but my mom is in a nursing home.
Okay, so it's just, this is how it kind of works as we're reading the energy. Different things in your energy field will start coming to me. So August is a very significant month, and it's showing that that's a significant month in the family structure. But I do believe the shift is going to take some time. August 29th. Okay, so we're looking at that, the 8th. Yeah, so I think that's why I'm getting that. I think that's more in regard to a significant date in the family structure and your parents' anniversary. Toby. So what's interesting is also around you, the T. Is there a Toby? What's the significance with the name a Toby? And I don't think I'm talking Toby Keith, country artist. Maybe if that's significant to you, I don't know. But for some reason, I'm getting Toby around you. That name is coming to me significantly. Can you take that?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know of any Tobys except for Toby Keith.
Are you a huge Toby Keith fan? Is that like a good?
Yeah, I do love his music.
All right, that's funny. What's funny is, so let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna hand this off to Mary Amy, see what her input is. But the interesting thing, I do believe a lot of times the divine speaks to us in music. I do believe music can affect us in very positive ways. I think you need to just sit with your own intuitive guidance. I think you need to sit, this is a conversation you need to have with God. I mean, I truly believe you need to just sit quietly and think about these very specific questions. Am I willing to possibly be pulled into chaotic energy? Am I willing to be pulled into possible negative consequences around my husband? Now, this is your current husband, is that correct, or current boyfriend?
Well, he's my boyfriend, but we wear a wedding ring.
Okay.
We've been together for 11 years.
No, that's fine. So I'm just going to say I'm going to say your fiance. So your current fiance.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what comes to me around it. Are you willing to go through some chaotic energy and persevere through some hardship trying to make this relationship right? How important is it to you, or do you need to cut ties and try to move on? I think you're stuck in a little bit of a tough situation, because I think a lot of his healing is going to take a long time. I think it's going to be a process. I do think he probably deals with, like, what comes to me is depression and anxiety, just like certain things I experience. So I don't know what he experiences on that, or if there's something that pulls him into the negative. And is alcohol? Did you drink a little bit? Was there alcohol mixed in and involved with this?
No, he it's pills that he has a problem with.
No, I know you said pills, but just does he also drink? Is alcohol a variable in this mix?
It can be. I mean,
okay.
He had.
So that's my concern.
Be.
That's what I'm seeing. So my concern with this is the mix of the alcohol and the pills could be fatal for him. That's my concern. So I do believe you don't necessarily to take him back, but I do believe you can, in one way, shape, or form, intercede. You can intervene in his dysfunction, and you can shift the energy. But I truly believe you have to be able to persevere through some chaotic energy and through some of the negative that's going to be around this. But I do believe and I do see the potential for healing in it. Now, Mary Amy, I've talked long enough around this. Let me hand it over to you and see what you're reading around the energy of this.
Hi, Michelle. It's Mary.
Hey.
Hi. So initially I received and I sensed a fence, which represents separation, and it surrounds you for protection. I realized that there's a higher source that guides you. I am very sorry for the sadness that you're enduring. I saw a
Thank
deer,
you.
and yeah, of course, I saw a deer, and this deer is looking straight at you, and it represents that you're going through a transition. Also, the fact that you are innocent to this, you feel lost, but you do have this independence. I sense a very strong independence within you and deep pain. And I realize that I sense that you have been hurt many, many times. Now, here we go. It's not about what I realize and I'm sensing. It's not about whether or not you're going to continue on with him. It's more or less about you taking care of yourself here at this moment. And that starts with letting go. And how are you letting go? You don't have to necessarily say it to the person, but you give forgiveness for the pain that he's caused you, because when you let go of that, and I know that sounds, I'm saying it, and so it's so easy. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. You can say it out loud if in fact you're ready, that you forgive him for the pain he's caused, and you don't have to say it to him, but he will receive that energy. I also realize, too, that you have set strong boundaries. I don't know if you know this, but the strong boundaries can be torn down, and you have to, again, lift up your boundaries. I sense that to you, in a lot of respects, that you've given him so many chances, and you now have to put yourself first. And I know it's difficult because you say, I've spent so much time here with this person, and sometimes we say, oh my goodness, I've spent so much time and invested so much of myself, but we have to put ourselves first. Now, I'm not saying that this is the end all. I'm saying right now, in this moment, I sense that you should put yourself first. And when we take care of ourselves, then somehow things will turn out the best way they can for us. So my suggestions are, moving forward, is to release, I guess, the damage that he's done to you, and what can be repaired is really not up to you. You don't have control. It's more or less about if he's going to take things in a different way, and he's going to stop what he's doing. And so that's just what I received. So I received the fence about how you have this separation, but you are surrounded by protection from a higher source that guides you. And I saw this deer, which means that you're in a transition. You have this innocence, but you do feel lost, and you are strong enough independently to handle this. So that's what I received.
And Mary Amy, it's interesting. As you mentioned deer, what I hear is she's stuck in the headlights. A deer stuck in the headlights. So I do believe this has kind of got you in like a freeze state. You know, you're not really sure whether to move forward to try to help heal him. You're not sure whether to take your power back and empower yourself to move on. So
Right. Yes.
I believe I was getting some of this information around you. The bill, I would just look at that aspect, that name, that person, and maybe how you've navigated. If there was conflict or something that you had to navigate with that person in the past, that may be a positive way or a positive influence to help you navigate this scenario. So I would just look at that, and then on the flip side of that, the bill name that could be a confirmation for you. Like if you're intuitively sitting and you're asking, show me the way, show me what I need to do in this situation. Then name Bill, or that person Bill that you know, your ex-father-in-law. Something may come up with him, and that may be a sign for you that you're on the right path. I do believe I'm getting that name for some type of positive influence in your energy field. So I want to say that first. So look at the relationship you had with him. If there was any turmoil in that relationship and you navigated it in a positive way and you both came away from it happy, healthy, understanding each other, and at least acknowledging each other in a positive way, just look at that. And is there something you could take from that, and something that had occurred or happened with that connection that you may be able to use?
That's funny. You know what? I just thought about something, and I blocked it out of my head. But it's really funny that you bring him up, because I don't never speak to him. But many years ago, it was my son's dad, and he flirted with me, and I knew it was going to cause turmoil in the whole family. So I kept it between my husband and the brother-in-law and his dad and me, and I forgave him, and we just never talked about it again. And his son, which was my husband, kicked him out of the house, but they still stayed. They still are close to this day. He just he was living with us in the house, and
okay. No,
it was really strange. It's like made me feel so uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Okay, so all right, I appreciate that confirmation.
Yeah.
And see, spirit works in some unusual ways. They were trying to get me to trigger that memory or something around that in you to help your highest and best, to help you navigate this situation. So I do appreciate that confirmation. I knew it was coming through for a reason, and I knew I had to go back to that, and I had to
that was weird.
see what would unfold around that. So just sit with that. Sit, in what I'll call, a meditation or a contemplative prayer, and see what comes to you. You're not asking of it. Just try to clear your mind. And for you, on top of this, so I think this is a double-edged message. I think the Toby Keith that we're getting, the Toby, I do believe for you to quiet your mind, you're going to have to sit with music. I think there's probably a lot going on in your head. You may have, a lot of to-do lists, a lot of priorities. There may be a lot of noise. The Buddhist monks call it the monkey mind. The monkey mind is always going. It's always chattering. I think music will help. And now, is that the case? Is that something you deal with? Are you an overthinker? Do you think a lot? Do you
Yes,
process?
I do. I do think a whole lot, and it kind of calms me down. Like I can't even watch the TV because my mind's thinking so much. But I love music, and I love to listen to Stevie Nicks, and I'll just play her music over and over. That Gypsy song. I love that Gypsy song.
Very cool, Stevie Nicks. That's a good song. But yeah, so I don't know what the Toby Keith thing is, and the Toby Keith was coming to me. Maybe you need to go to a Toby Keith concert, and in that concert, you'll shift or you'll find someone. I don't know. I'm kidding around, but I think it's in the music.
Well, he's got very good music. Maybe I need to listen to it.
Yeah, there might be some lyrics or something in there, but I think they're showing me just a path for you to quiet your mind, for you to sit in your own intuitive power and let that divine guidance flow through you and see what comes. And if music helps you open that channel, then utilize it as a tool. Utilize that music, and then you may slowly get it to a point where you could just sit quietly, in nature, whether it's by a lake, by water, whatever it may be, creating some type of art. But in the music, it's where your mind will calm, and I do believe your intuitive guidance will start to flow. And write it down. Like if things come to you, don't discredit it. If a name, a date, or if literally you start getting just a knowing of how you need to approach that person, how you need to handle that situation, write it all down, because our mind, it'll bring through the information very quick. And or even record, like if you have a phone where you can do a voice memo it. Whatever you can do to try to quiet your mind and truly be divinely guided. I do believe we all have the power to be divinely guided. We all have these intuitive abilities that we can tap into. and they can absolutely help us heal, help us change in a positive way. And that's what I think for you is you just need to sit in that energy. You need to utilize your intuitive guidance, and that's going to start unfolding in a positive way for you. But look at the aspects of the connection to Bill, very important, and then see where it takes you. All right. So I really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you for calling, Michelle. And I'm sending you blessings, and I know that you have a lot of strength within you, and you can overcome. It's just really your choice. It's all your choice. So you decide what you want, and you can make it happen.
I got you, and I do appreciate you guys, and a wonderful reading from both of you guys.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Move forward in the most positive way you can and tap into that intuitive guidance. It won't steer you wrong.
And we hope you follow us.
Thank you. Yes, that's my first time calling you guys. Yeah. It's my first time. It's been really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Have a great night. Be well.
Don't forget to listen to the rest of the show.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Okay. So, it was coming through so strong with me about what's the best thing for her. I can't even tell you. It's so strange, Michael. Like I haven't normally had that. When someone says, should I do this or shouldn't I do that? I'm thinking, don't do that. I don't know. I've never had that before. But it's like, I'm not kidding. It was really strange for me. It was cool. Because it's almost like, it seemed almost difficult to try to get through because she had a lot going on. It's very complex, it sounds. What's going on around her.
And it's pretty amazing how spirit will work through us and bringing me back. Like as soon as you said deer, like immediately I saw this lady stuck, a deer in the headlights, and she was basically in a freeze, in an emotional, mental freeze state. And then I basically, and just so people know kind of how this unfolds and how it unfolds in the medium's mind, then I heard you need to talk about Bill again. You need to talk about Bill. So, it's interesting how it works, and it's interesting how things unfold. So, Mary Amy,
okay. So we have 30 minutes left. So what I'd like to do is I'd like you to quickly we run through what we have going on, each of us, and I'd like to do a mini visualization and then take more callers because we have people holding for the entire show, which is great. So why don't you share with us what you have upcoming, and I'll share my information, and then I'll do a little visualization, and we'll get to some more callers.
Sure. So I'm going to tell everyone that's in the local area, if you're local to New Jersey, if you're in the tri-state, you want to come in for Memorial Day weekend, Mary Amy and I are going to be doing a great mediumship gallery at the Touch Mother Earth Festival. So we're going to be bringing what we do on this show to you live. It's going to be a really, really cool thing. We're doing that at noon on Memorial Day. The Friday before that, the opening ceremonies of the Touch Mother Earth Festival, I will be there leading them in a guided meditation, and that's a really cool thing that I'm excited for. I have a bunch of events coming up. I actually have so many different things coming up that what I would say is go to my Facebook page, Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley, or go to my meetup, Eye of the Spirits with Mike Edley. Either one of those will have my events on there. I do have a few different things that are coming up, and if you wanted a private reading, a small group reading, or a gallery reading, reach out to me, and we can definitely set that up. You can message me on Facebook, again, Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley, or you can reach me at my website, michaeledley.com.
Yay. Okay, everyone. I hope that you follow us on our Facebook page. It's Two Psychics Radio with Michael and I, and we'd love if you follow us, and we post whatever we have going on, and it's just starting out. And also I hope you can follow us, everyone who's listening, on this blogtalkradio.com/twopsychics. For me, I do have a website, and I've mentioned that's coming up, maryamyofficial.com. I've had it for a long time, and it's getting worked on. It's with my web guy, you can order one of my books. I have books on Amazon, My Dream Journal, A Personal Diary of Messages, Signs, and Symbols, and there's room in there for 100 entries, and it gives an explanation about what dreams are for you. You know, it's very evident that our dreams can guide us, and maybe it's a premonition dream, a lucid dream, and you think, oh, this is a nightmare, I'm scared, and it's horrible, and I want to wake up. But pay attention. There's a lot of messages and symbolism in dreams, and maybe it will resolve something in your waking life. If you're having a nightmare and you're running away, decide the next time I have this nightmare, I'm going to stand still. I'm not going to run away, and see what happens. There's important information in our dreams. So you can find my dream journal. Okay, so I'd like to do a quick visualization and then get to more of these callers, people who've been waiting, and I really appreciate it. You're all lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's the visualization for tonight. Okay, blessings. Our intention today is to wake up in the mornings and immediately connect to an optimistic perspective. So let's realize beginning your day with positive thoughts will transform your life. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find a quiet space, sit or lay down comfortably. The more comfort you have, the more you will receive. So let's begin to relax our body and our minds and our spirit, and we're going to breathe out old energy. And that means that you can just let it out. Maybe you want to speak it out. And I'd like it to remind you to put all of your weight on your bottom, and which is the base of your spine, your root chakra, and to ground yourself. I'd like you to imagine that the base of your spine, your root chakra, is sending down to the earth, deeply in the earth's surface. And I'd like you to imagine your feet going down into the earth, and you're wiggling your toes. So you're just letting go, really let go. So we're going to deeply inhale and exhale 3 times together, and we're going to do that on a 5 count. Okay, so let's do that together right now. Our first inhale. And you hold it for 5, and release for 5. Second one. And hopefully now you have a little bit less anxiety and stress in your body. And I'd like you to scan your body from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, your crown chakra to the tip of your toes. So we are internally letting go of our past thoughts and our energies. Nothing that's happened before this moment or ahead of us. We're in this moment and we're having gratitude. All right, so you're inside your brain, and I'd like you to visualize inside your brain. So inside your brain, there is a small ball of light. Maybe it's the size of a ping pong ball or a coin, and it's a glowing ball of light. And it's spinning, this ball of light. And as it's spinning clockwise, and it's releasing sparks. And it's glistening, and it's powerful, and it's inside your brain. And so it's spinning 1, 2, 3 times clockwise. And as it's spinning, it is expanding. This luminous, beautiful ball of light is expanding. And you feel a mental release. And you're releasing thoughts of fear, disappointment, and any shame. It's all leaving your mind. And you're breathing out these thoughts. And now this beautiful, bright light, ball of light that's expanding in your brain, is moving counterclockwise. And it's going to spin 3 times counterclockwise. And it's expanding still. 1, 2, 3. And now this beautiful bright ball of light is traveling through your body, and it's growing bigger and bigger, and it's moving to your heart, and it's continuing to spin. And you can sense this light in your heart, and as the ball of light grows larger and larger, you are becoming more sensitive and more aware of your heart, and your heart is filling with love. And you're going to breathe out any emotional hurt or pain, anger, anything that's bothering you. You're letting it out. You don't want it anymore. And you feel this huge sparkling light, this ball of light. It's completely and utterly filling every part of your body. It's touching every cell, your bones. And you've let out everything that you don't need and that's bothered you, and you're replacing it with hope and desire and wishes. So your body, mind, and spirit are calm and peaceful, and you have strong boundaries. You're keeping outside energies and triggers away. So I want you to stay in this moment of peace and a fresh feeling that's giving you hope, and the pain's gone. And I'm going to count backwards to 1, and you'll open your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Michael, you there?
I feel refreshed. I'm refreshed and rejuvenated.
Yay! Any little bit can help. You know, it's funny. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. Like, oh, I can't sit still to meditate. Oh, I have so much going on. Look at my phone. Look at my emails. Oh, my goodness. All these things, all these responsibilities and tasks. But when we do this, all of that becomes easier. When we relax our mind, we relax our heart, we lower our blood pressure, we stop the racing heart, everything else seems to make more sense, and we can have more enrichment, and we can enjoy moments. At least that's what happens for me.
Yeah, when I started meditating and I started trying to meditate, my mind would go in so many different places. Literally, it would take me 15 minutes of just, oh, a thought came into my head, I got to bump it out. Oh, thought came into my head, I got to bump it out. And that was a 2-year process. And when I started doing this, I really had to challenge myself that, what is going on with me? What am I hearing? What's happening on a psychic intuitive level? And I needed to challenge myself. And I was going into, well, you know, that's where we met. I was going into Manhattan. You know, we were doing different events, and, you know, we met in the city. And literally, there would be points where I was in the most chaotic environment, and I learned to meditate in any environment, but it was a 2-year process. And it was, yeah, like you said, you learn to do it. It's a gradual process, like learning to ride a bike or learning an instrument. It's just a slow, steady progress, and you just get better and better and better at it when you start doing it consistently. And that's what it is. It's the consistency that builds the strength in the meditation. So if you feel like your mind just won't quiet down, it happens to everyone. No one's mind wants to initially quiet down. And some people, it takes even longer. But it was a 2-year process for me to properly put myself in that sacred space to be able to do the work that I'm doing. And now I can literally, in a moment's time, I can get there. But, you know, it was a 2-year journey. And then from that 2-year journey of learning meditation, you know, now we're, you know, 15, 20, you know, we're 2 decades in, you know, but really it was a process getting up to there. And then I would say I started really pushing myself, and probably 2013 to 2015, when I was really challenging myself to bring my meditating skills to the next level. Yeah, it was a long journey, and that's doing little meditations here and there, or, you know, trying to go through some type of musical excerpt or meditation music. And yeah, and my mind was scattered, you know, and I would say the first 10 years of doing that, I didn't know how to properly meditate. There wasn't a lot of stuff out there, and there wasn't even a lot of meditation music at that point in time. So now there's a lot more tools, but yeah, a 2-year process of truly getting into it and truly being able to quiet my mind. So
it's definitely a challenge. I had joined a meditation group through friends about 19 years ago, 20 years ago, and you sat in this room and all you did was listen to this music. There was no guided, it was nothing. And you just sit there, and you had to sit there. You couldn't get up and leave in the middle, so you had to learn how to do it. Sometimes we would bring someone in who would give a guided meditation, and then they would do some energy healing. But for the most part, it's a challenge at first because your mind wanders. And I mean, there's all different types of meditation. You can focus on something, focusing on the breath, doing a guided meditation. But yeah, it can be difficult. And also when you have a lot going on, it's hard to do, and you have to get back into it. At least I have. Okay, should I bring on someone else? We have people holding a very long time. Lots of you out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we have another 20 minutes, so we're going to do 10-minute readings, okay? And we'll bring 2 more people on. All right, so let me bring on somebody who's been holding the longest. Here we go. I don't know who this is. We'll find out. Hi, this is Mary and Michael. Who's this?
Hi, this is Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Hey,
have you called
Cindy.
in before?
Yes, I have. I've talked to you before, and it's been a couple weeks since I called in. I didn't make it last week in time, but the week before my horse came in.
Well, we didn't make it last week in time either, so you're good.
Okay.
We did not have an episode. We did not have a show last week, but so Cindy.
Okay, well, I was thinking I called in, but I thought, well, all the lines must have been full, so I didn't get in time.
there were some technical difficulties. We don't know what was going on, but
because my call kept getting dropped, so I thought all the lines were full.
But so Cindy, what question do you have for us? And actually, before you give us the question, just say your name slowly to us.
Cindy.
Excellent. Now, what's the question you have for us, Cindy?
Well, any message from any loved ones in spirit. Kind of what's been on my mind is wondering about the situation with my ex. He left the state. He's working on his sister's house, supposedly, that he's out. I don't know if he's planning on coming back. There's some resolution needs to be done with the real estate, but on his way out, he said I could pay him what he's paid into the property and buy out his house. And I said, okay. And so my business to be able to do that is moving forward very nicely. And that should be, in the next couple of weeks. So do you see that going smoothly? Do you see him? He's been calling like every other day, but just with chit-chat about what he's doing and updating on his sister's, what he's going through her garage and the house and the dogs, and not really about anything.
To me, it sounds like he's having a wake-up call. He's having a dose of reality, and he's starting to maybe see, maybe he didn't make the right decisions. I sense a lot of that when you speak to me around this topic and what you're dealing with and your interactions with him. But I do. I think the funny thing is I do remember us talking to you several weeks ago. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember your voice. And I can tell you your voice, the shift in your energy, you seem so much more uplifted, so much more happy. There's just more joy and confidence in your voice. So I would say your energy has definitely shifted and shifted in a very positive way. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's definitely pushing you forward. That's a very good thing. Now, the interesting thing, so when we connected to energy, many different things come to me. The weird thing about this, and I want to see if this pertains to you, because I had some stuff coming to me when Mary Amy was going through her meditation, and I felt like this would correlate and possibly be for who was coming on next, which is you.
Okay.
So
right.
the K name, is there a significance to a female K around you, a K name, or a Katie or a Kate? Because Katie or a K was coming through very prominently to me.
With a female?
Well, it might be male.
No.
I'm interpreting it as female. I'm just the name. I don't. If there's
well,
a Kate.
His middle name is Kerry. Starts with a K.
Okay. So so the K. Okay.
His middle initials K.
Okay. We don't have. Okay. So there's no significant female mother, aunt, grandmother, someone around you, whether they're here with us or whether they're in spirit. That would be a Kate, a Katie. Could also be a Karen with the K-A. I was trying to interpret it, but I'm definitely getting like that K-A. It could be a Karen. Nothing that. No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and that's fine. So
anything.
No, and that's fine. So in that, I just want you to know, I want to give you that name, the Kate or the Katie, as some type of positive influence, possibly around this circumstance. So whether that would be a lawyer, a realtor, a banker, someone in regard to positive transfer or you shifting and owning the property, or what you're navigating this situation. And I think that name is a positive influence around the property being completely given back to you. That transfer of the property over to you. So I see that as a positive.
Asked him several times, well, send me the numbers. What do you have in it? Because along with what he actually put into it, money-wise, as far as on like down payment or payments, or he bought some electrical wires, some breakers. He did a couple of repairs when we first bought it. So I was like, just send me the numbers.
Okay, so let me bring
up.
And
he hasn't done it.
And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you may have to let this. You may have to be a little patient. So that does come to me. A little patience, a little grace around this, because I do think it is moving in a more positive way than it was for you. So that is good. So we check that off. Now, second to that, for some reason, I'm getting Palm Beach. Palm. Is there any significance to Palm Beach? Is there any significance to the Palm Beach tropical area?
Palm Beach area.
And if not, that's fine. We don't want to.
I have an uncle that lives down that way, but I haven't.
Okay, so
he doesn't have anything to do with this situation.
Okay, no, it's in your energy field. So I just have to bring it up. I have to acknowledge the Palm Beach, because I heard Palm Beach talk about Palm Beach. There may be something that comes up, or you may have some interaction or something around that uncle that you just talked about that is near or around Palm Beach. So just be aware of that. Be aware of the connection to a person around the Palm Beach location. There could be some significance to that, or it could be a validation for you in moving forward with this process of getting the property back to you. So just be aware of that Palm Beach, the interaction with that uncle that's there. And I have to bring up. No, what's that?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I actually think the lawyers for the insurance company for the other party are down there.
Well, there we go. Okay, so that's it. Okay, okay, excellent. So then that's what it is.
I don't deal with them directly, so I wasn't thinking about that off.
All right. I appreciate that. I appreciate that confirmation. Then, so the lawyers that you're dealing with for the other party are down in Palm Beach. Excellent. So what you need to understand with that, I'm getting that as a positive influence, or like it's moving in a positive direction. When I saw that, and I saw the Palm Beach location, it had positive energy around it. So I appreciate that validation. Now I need to bring up I need to bring up something about a fence. What's the deal with the fence? Is there something significant about a fence being installed, a fence being taken down, a fence?
Yes, I've got some fencing I need to put up for the horses to get them out in a bigger area for the grass. And then there was an old bus on the edge of the property where the fence line's down on the perimeter fence. Yeah. And I've been talking to some guys coming out to haul it off. So I've been trying to find somebody to haul scrap metal. So they're working on trying to get that out of the way so I can put the fence up.
Okay, so to put the fence up. Okay, so I would say just move. Don't hesitate on that, because you don't want a horse to get loose or to break free or something. But I just see you with the fence, you need to move a little quicker than you're moving. So, so I don't know if a horse could escape, or I don't know if it can cause some kind of problem if it's not up before there's a transfer property or something. But I do believe I'm seeing energy around the fence, and I'm meant to talk to you about the fence, and just move a little bit quicker on process. So or it could even be You may have to follow up with the contractors or whoever you're utilizing to either remove it, install it. So you may have to stay on top of those people. And when something like that's coming up, I also would say any paperwork that's signed around that, make sure you do that. Make sure there's a contract. Make sure there's a set number of the cost, and make sure everything is signed off and everything is agreed upon. So there's no confusion and no mixed energy around the fence. So at this point, I want to hand it off to Mary Amy because I'm sure she's got a lot of stuff coming to her. But I appreciate that validation of the Palm Beach, the fence, and the K or the Katie or the Kate, that KA name. Just be aware of that as a positive influence around the transfer of property. So what do you have for us, Mary?
Well, Cindy, I love that we're hearing from you again because we are finding and we're realizing that you've really actually shifted so much. And what I sense is that you've overcome so much since our very first phone call. And your voice is different. And I get that. There's so much you can read in someone's sound, their voice. And the past, what I receive is the past is gone. And there's a couple things that in regard to that. Number one is I saw a waterfall in relation to you, and which is a sign of renewal. And you are you've let go. I don't know if you've realized this. So much that's happened to you, and you're someone that, if I was to take this and look at this like on a timeline. In a very short period of time, you've made a lot of changes. I don't know if you realize that you've let go of so much. To me, it's a sign. And when I've worked with people, you are very able to manifest. It's almost like you get some kind of guidance and you can manifest whatever it is you want. And you have so much that you're capable of doing. You set goals, and then you immediately, there's movement in your energy. Now, I also realize, too, that nature's involved with you because you work with these horses, and I believe that the horses are also very healing for you. They're a sign of power and strength and endurance and heroes and confidence. And I think that the nature aspect of your life is really helping you to manifest, because when you're a caretaker for, maybe it's the elderly or children or animals, it changes your energy field in a positive way. It's like you get more chances at, I don't want to say the word luck, and we've used luck tonight, but you have more good fortune is what I want to say. And I believe, Cindy, if you make a list of goals, they will come true for you because you have that ability. You can make changes really rapidly. That's it.
Wow.
That's what I have.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So what
awesome.
I would say, let this unfold. Take your time with it. But in a few weeks, once the property is transferred over to you and it's squared away, give us a call back. Let us know how everything unfolded. And I think things are on the horizon for you. But thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for calling. And I hope you follow us. I'm going to keep pitching that tonight, Cindy. Follow us. No, really, it's very intriguing how you've moved your energy. You really have. And stick with those horses. I think they're very good for you, and they're very healing for you.
Thank you. Yes, they are. They're a big part of my life.
That unconditional love is a beautiful thing. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You
so
too.
Mary
Bye.
Amy, do you want to try to get someone on real quick?
Yeah, we're going to get somebody else because we're almost out of time. We have 6 minutes, but we're going to I have someone here who's been waiting, so we're going to grab them.
Yeah, bring them on real quick.
Hi, who's this? This is Mary and Michael. Who's this?
This is Khalil Reed. I'm going to calling from Charlottesville.
Nice. Hi.
Hi. I'm going to a game this next the Saturday after next, and it's going to be a first responders game.
Okay.
Do you see me meeting a bunch of first responders from around the country? Because they're having some exhibits set up, not exhibits, but some displays set up before the game.
Okay, so interesting. So give me your name one time slow. I just want to connect to your energy real quick.
Khalil. Yeah.
Khalil, awesome. So interesting thing, immediately in your energy field, I'm seeing oranges and I'm seeing Georgia. So I don't know what connection that is to you, but I'm seeing that as a very positive influence or a very positive thing in your energy field. So I do believe you're either going to come in contact or make some kind of new relationship or new connection with someone that has ties to Georgia. So I don't.
Okay.
Or can you tell? Can you take that? Is there something you know right off the bat that there's a connection to Georgia that you have?
Well, I've been to Georgia before, and I've also liked a lot of oranges, and I drank a lot of orange soda. So maybe
the oranges are very positive. Isn't that funny that I saw the oranges around you?
Yeah.
The oranges are very positive for you, but I would say definitely heavy up on your vitamin C. Orange is vitamin C, but oranges in a funny way are very positive. And I guess from a health standpoint, look at, you're not vitamin deficient, right? There's nothing going on health-wise, vitamin-wise, that I would be seeing that you should get an additional bump of vitamin C into your diet.
I have diabetes and autism. That's the only things.
Okay. So I would say keep up with the vitamin C, the orange juice. So because I know orange juice slowly breaks down in the system. So I know for a period of time when I had blood sugar issues, I could actually drink orange juice and it would stabilize in my system more so than other juices. Does that occur with you too?
I haven't noticed it because I haven't drank orange juice in a while, but I'll look for that.
Yeah, so just pay attention to the vitamin C, and I think vitamin C would be very integral for you. But I just see positive energy around this, and I do see a connection for you meeting someone that's tied to Georgia. So, Mary Amy, what are you getting?
Okay, I just want to clarify. Your question was, are you going to meet with first responders at this event? Was that your question?
Am I going to be meeting a bunch of new first responders at the event, like first responders from around the country?
So are you going to be like making new friendships or new camaraderie? Is that kind of what you're leading towards, like new connections?
Well, just talking to them and learning what they do and stuff.
So I received was I saw this graph, like this graph wave, and then I saw I saw actual clock, and what I'm receiving is to get there early, to get to this event early, so you can meet them. That's what I saw. That's what I'm receiving. I mean, I don't usually get that kind of thing.
What's funny, though, what's funny, see, we're going to go a little quickly because we want to get as much as we can in before the show ends. But when you said that, I actually saw a watch. I saw you wearing a watch. So I don't know, if you don't normally wear a watch or make sure you have some type of accurate time device. So whether it's a watch you're wearing, make sure it's got a new battery in it. Make sure you have something on so you could stay on time. So that's what
I believe that it's positive. Positive is what I say. I say that this is a very positive event for you. You should definitely go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What
was that? No, you're welcome, Khalil. So what we'll do, Khalil, let us know. Give us a call back. Let us know how it goes.
We want to hear all about it.
Definitely a connection to Georgia, and there's definitely some significance to keeping time. And this isn't keeping time for. I know we're not getting this for us, even though we're running a little short. We're trying to stay on time. I do think this is for you, and you just have to, like Mary Amy said, show up early to make sure make sure you don't miss out on anything or any connection that you need to make. But Khalil, we are going to have to let you go right now because we have about 45 seconds to close out the show. But you need to give us a call back.
Thank you so much
Let
for
us
calling.
know how we hold it for you, and just be aware of that connection to Georgia.
Okay,
and also,
bye-bye.
real quick, the name Dave. Bye. The name Dave is significant around you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's it. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry for rushing that again, everyone.
2nd.
We wanted to get all those readings in. We love you guys.
And join
Mary
us again next Thursday Wait, I don't know about next Thursday. We'll have to check the date on that. I talked about the Bible. Everyone be well. Thanks for joining us. Hope you follow us. And
follow
like
Two
us
Psychics,
on
our
Facebook.
social media, and we will give you the exact day and time as soon as we have it figured out. Love you all. And
Love
so
you
glad
all.
you're here with us. Good night.
Bye. Good night.